Kingprotea Alter is basically a Avenger equivalent of Ciel but lean much harder into MP burst. She has similar card manipulation, a triple buster deck, huge MP charge potential, strong star generation, and surprisingly good defensive utility, but her biggest difference is that her MP directly interacts with her master skills, giving her a huge one-turn ceiling at the cost of temporarily losing Mystic Code utility. So I'll break down her kit, the unique interactions, the strength and weakness, and the best team to use on her. Skill 1 gives Protea a 50% battery and 30% special damage against neutral enemy for 3 turns. It also gives every other ally 20% special damage against neutral, plus a party-wide 20% attack both for 3 turns. The 50% battery makes her MP easy to access, while the party buffs give her some multi-core support. Neutral alignment is more restrictive though, so treat it as an extra coverage rather than her main damage niche. Skill 2 gives 20% buster up, 15 stars instantly, and another 15 stars per turn for 3 turns. It also drains 1 charge from each enemy and gives Protea 20% MP charge per successful drain, meaning up to 60% against 3 enemies with charge available. But the unique part is Giant's Protection, a free use, 3-turn defensive state that can protect the rest of the party through Guardian's parry. I'll explain the interaction more later on because it works differently from simply giving everyone free hit of invincibility. Skill 3 gives 3 turn of debuff immunity, 20% special damage against anyone that isn't super large for 1 turn, and 5-star whenever a buster attack lands for 3 turns. More importantly, it removes your other allies card from the hand and withdraws all 5 of Protea's card. With her triple buster deck, this lets her force buster Brave Chains or buster MP buster setups whenever you need a burst turn. And unlike neutral, non-super large coverage is extremely broad. The trade-off is simply it only lasts 1 turn. Protea Alter's single target buster MP steals every currently unused master skill up to 3 and gains 20% MP damage up for each one stolen. So all 3 give 60% MP damage. On city or water side, she gains another 20%, reaching 80% before external support. She also gains 30 to 50% crit damage up for 1 turn based on overcharge, then deals defense ignoring damage and lowers the enemy's attack by 20% for 3 turns. The catch is that every stolen master skill is treated as used and placed on a 2-turn cooldown, so in every MP, you will be asking, is the extra damage worth temporarily giving up your Mystic Code? Protea Alter's biggest strength is burst turn control. Her card redraw can guarantee the hand she wants, while her MP and broad non-super large niche gives that turn a very high damage ceiling. You can also MP one enemy, then use a buster card to crit down the others, effectively creating a pseudo AoE turn despite having a single target MP. That is where the Ciel comparison comes from. Ciel has much stronger sustained crit damage and better MP refund, while Protea trades some of that consistency for a triple buster deck, reliable store generation, and much larger 1-turn MP steroid. That also makes her especially interesting in Grandu content. If you have the Grand Score effect that doubles master skill recharge, the 2-turn lock caused by her MP can clear by the next turn. Provided you don't actually spend those master skill, she can access the full 60% MP damage far more frequently than in normal battles. Her MP access is also excellent. She always has a 50% battery, and against 3 enemies with charge available, skill 2 can bring that to 110% self-charge. Her passive also gives 6.3% MP per turn or 8.3% on water side. Then there's Giant's Protection. Its 3 defensive uses are shared across the party. If an enemy uses an AoE attack, the whole party can be protected while only 1 use is consumed, rather than burning 3 separate invincibility hits all at once. And since it's not directly applied to your allies, targeted buff removal will be less effective against it. That makes it surprisingly efficient in longer fights, combined with AoE charge drain, debuff immunity, and defense ignore. Protea has much more challenge quest utility than her broad focus kit first suggests. Ironically, her biggest weakness is that maximum MP damage competes directly with master skill utility. If you need order change, a Mystic Code damage buff, or another important effect before her MP, you're sacrificing part of that 60% steroid, and outside Grand Score acceleration, stealing the skill means they won't immediately be available again, so her ceiling is high, but you need to plan your turns instead of blindly pressing all the buttons. Her damage niche is also inconsistent. Neutral only applies to specific enemies, while the much broader non-super large buff lasts 1 turn. And despite generating plenty of stores, her sustained self crit buffs are very modest. She has 8% general crit damage and 10% buster crit damage up passively, with the larger 30 to 50% buff only lasting one turn after her MP. So compared with Ciel, Protea can force her cards consistently, but external crit support matters more if you want those buster follow-ups to hit extremely hard. Finally, she's an Avenger that gives her strong neutral coverage, but offensive class advantage is uncommon if you want to use her as a primary DPS across many fight, MP levels, and external buffs matters more. For standard buster teams, Koyanska of Light and Oberon are the obvious partner. Oberon especially can take advantage of the massive 60% MP steroid and doubling it for insane MP damage buff amount. Just plan around order change if Oberon starts in the backline, because using it before Protea's MP leaves pure master skills to steal. For crit teams, prioritizing crit damage over even more store generation, so support like Merlin or Dolman can be very useful here, but the standout synergy is Summer BB. Use Protea's skill free to force all 5 of her cards into the hand and card lock it with Summer BB for 3 turns. Now Protea can repeatedly access her triple buster deck and buster MP buster setup instead of only forcing them for 1 turn. This directly extends the part of her kit that makes her unique. Overall, Kingprotea Alter is a challenge quest and burst-focused buster DPS built around turn control. Her card manipulation, huge 1-turn MP steroid, and broad damage niche gives her excellent burst potential, while Giant's protection, charge drain, debuff immunity, and defense ignored gives her long fight utility. The trade-off is the highest MP damage competes with her mystical, and her crit damage isn't as self-sufficient as Ciel, so I won't call her a replacement of Ciel. She's more like an Avenger alternative that trades sustained crit damage for higher MP burst, a triple buster deck, and stronger defensive utility. MP1 is enough to access everything unique about her kit, but if you're using Protea as a primary neutral class DPS, MP2 is much easier to justify because Avenger rarely gets offensive class advantage. That's all for Kingprotea Alter guide. Can she actually rival Ciel, and are you planning to roll for her? Let me know in the comments. For more concise FGO guides and server breakdowns, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.